What's up, everybody? Today we're here with the Telekinesis phenom from Germany, Benedikt Maurer. It's such an honor to have Benedikt here with us today. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Benedikt. Never actually, seen the guy's face before. It's just such an honor as it is to even see his face and get to see him really talk for the first time like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've never shown your face to the public like this ever before. Am I correct? Besides Gaia, right?
Well, yes, that's right. Because I mean, today it's really difficult to, well, let's say not to hide your face. I mean, it's more the way you need to be careful how you show yourself, where you present yourself. I mean, on Gaia, it's okay. It's a TV. It's more like a TV show. So in YouTube, it doesn't make really sense for me because where I doing my experiments, it's not easy to record myself. So why should I do that on that place where I have the most light to record this experiment? So I mean, all that experiments have or let's say why I do not record myself was because of the circumstances with the experiments. That's often the case. So I remember in the well, it's a few years ago. There was a time I recorded sometimes myself, but I never uploaded it on YouTube, or very old videos where you can only see my back and not my face. So on a lake, videos like that stuff, or aerokinesis videos. Yeah, but now I'm slowly revealing my face, so
Awesome. Well, thank
it's a
you so
good
much. It's
thing.
such an honor. Right. It's such an honor for someone of your caliber and,
Yeah.
and someone like for myself to be the first one to kind of, get you exposed to the world and stuff like that. So it's really, truly an honor. So how did you get started with telekinesis? How did this begin for you?
Well, it's a very good question, actually. How did I start, or let's say, how did I figure it out that this was part in my life? It is more, well, the first time, let's say, it was, I think, yeah, difficult to say. It was a phenomena. It was a ball lightning. So let's say a lightning in form of a ball, or light sphere or orb, how you want to call it. And did this yeah, ball lightning, or this, let's say, electros, yeah, it's an electro ball, and this hit me, I think so. With 5 years, that's often the case with people who have this or have these abilities. It's I mean, Uri Geller had after a light or a ball lightning encounter the same abilities, with 7 years. Then another person, he is he he comes from France, and he had the same, let's say, the same encounter, and more or less it was more like a lightning, not a ball, but a lightning. And after that happened, he was hit by a lightning. And so after this, he figured out that he had these abilities, the psychokinetic abilities. And
Right.
um, I know another person personally, and he had I think he had also a ball lightning, and after this he had these abilities. There are many. I mean, there are so many phenomena behind this. Ball lightning they can move very intelligent through woods, through a forest. They can follow people very intelligent. They sometimes they kill also people with 7 years. This also happened. Or sometimes people get hit by a lightning and don't even remember that they were hit by a lightning. So
Right.
uh, all that weird phenomena. So the first, then I figured out. So this was with 5 years. What happened with me, I think, um, because what I have seen in Italy, that was in Italy with where I was 5 years, um, and yeah, after this with 7 years, I would say. So there. the first time I figured out that I can move, or let's say I can influence more. I wouldn't say, well, I wouldn't say that this phenomena goes over, well, let's say it goes over a force field. All right, it's not, it's difficult to describe because it's so complex sometimes, you know.
Right.
So, um,
Yeah, I get that. But you got hit by lightning, and that's how you unlocked your ability.
yeah,
That's really interesting.
let's would say it's a problem to give quick tips because um, it's not like you try to move the psi wheel, you know. So if you can move the psi wheel, it's that doesn't show any telekinetic aspects, you know. It's more like a physical phenomena. It has nothing to do with thoughts because sometimes the people only held his or her hands on that wheel, and it starts to turn. So there are no thoughts. And even for this phenomena, for the real phenomena behind that psychokinetic aspects, you don't even need thoughts sometimes because it's based on electromagnetism, and that's how thoughts can interact with this force field and move objects. It's also part of the, I call it, how did I call it in English? Execution system. That was the word. This is how I call it, and I also wrote a book in 2019 about this. But they are all in German, so it might be difficult to read them or to understand them if you don't understand German. So yeah, this it's more, well. There is one way to let's say to get the real ability. You know what the most people show is more like how to move objects which can be influenced by a windy weather sometimes, or by heat. You know, that's not that proof or that physics behind that psychokinesis reality. You know, so there are difference. There's a real psychokinesis and a fake psychokinesis. But I wouldn't say that the most people who are doing these videos are fake stuff. You know, it's more um, they do not realize that this isn't any telekinetic stuff. You know, it's more like well, how to explain it's well, the conclusion is it's not telekinesis what the people sometimes try to show other people if they're doing a psi wheel or stuff like that. So you need more heavier objects like a stone, where you can.
Right.
The heaviest object, well, I would say it's not a car. No. No, it's also not myself. It's more, well, mm, I wouldn't. It's a good question because many objects are they're not so heavy, you know. It's more
Right.
like let's say maybe like a ping pong ball, stuff like this.
Oh, okay.
It's or well, it's heavier, like I would say more than 100 grams sometimes. But
Okay.
I mean, there are also phenomena where people like Uri Geller, he stopped a boat, the engine of a boat
Oh,
or
wow.
something like that. Such really heavy and big things, you know.
Right.
But this is not the power of his mind, okay? It's more the
Right.
power of that execution system, which is this,
Right.
let's say, which is the software in our computer reality who is doing
Right.
this force for this phenomena.
Right.
So I'm not,
Right.
let's say, I'm not the one who has the psychokinetic ability. I'm more the one. I'm more the admin inside that computer who has the rights to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is more how it really works. It's
Mm-hmm.
complicated to understand sometimes because you can write a whole book about this, you know.
Right.
So, but these are only small aspects to try to explain to people what's really behind that phenomena.
Right. So, Benedict, can you perform any other metaphysical abilities? I mean, obviously, the other very well known, energy practitioner from the German area is Alexander Kraklin. He can push people and stuff like that with empty force and stuff like that. I actually did an interview with him back in October of last year. Can you perform things like that, or like another popular thing out of Germany is the Seeing Without Eyes stuff by Miss Evelyn and stuff like that. Do you perform any of the metaphysical abilities, or?
Well, for me, is mm, let's say telepathy or remote viewing, or call it ESP. It's also like psychokinesis. But it's another aspect of psychokinesis, because
Right.
if you want to move an object, so it's the same with telepathy. You want something, you want something and you get it sometimes. So that's how that system works. It's like you have a wish and you get it if you're lucky enough,
Right.
or yeah. So well, so for me this is all one thing. The psychokinesis is more like the mother system behind this other metaphysical abilities.
Right.
So yeah, it's more, if you have psychokinesis, so you can do also even better some other metaphysical abilities. Most important thing to sit. Let's say to sit on a table or on the bottom and to try to move a compass needle. So if people try that, it's like a higher version of the psi wheel, to move a compass needle, because you have to fight with the Earth magnetic field through this object. That's more the yeah the the little more difficult way to do so, but well, the people always try to move objects with their mind because they think this must be the key, but this isn't right, because you need first that force field which comes out of your or which is produced by the heart. That's the first thing, and the second thing is if you move your hands, so they're floating these electrons. It's because from your brain, and because if you move, that's all. Let's say thoughts in the background. If you do this, these are thoughts in the background you do not control, but you can control them on a higher way, that you can do this. So this is what people need. They can activate their own electromagnetism to influence objects which are not magnetic sometimes, because it's the frequency and not the metallic stuff. It's not a metallic aspect behind electromagnetism, because there is existing this it's called the Hutchison effect. It's an electromagnetic physical effect which can melt stuff, which can produce light phenomena, which can levitate objects, which can levitate water and stuff like this. So it's and this is all the case with electromagnetism. It's this kind of effect. This Hutchison effect is based on electromagnetism. He can influence materials which are not magnetic or metallic. That's the thing.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Benedict. So, like, what is your ultimate goal with this pursuit of telekinesis and metaphysics and stuff like that? What do you ultimately want to accomplish?
Well, I would say I have many goals, but one main goal. And my main goal is more like to being part of the history with this topic. It's more to, yeah, to, well, not to get famous, but to be famous in this topic, more or less. That's it.
Awesome. Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's really amazing. So right. So what about as far as telekinesis? Do you want to get to the point where you can levitate your body, levitate like an object? What about? Do you have a specific goal in mind, or?
Well, good question. It's a very often question. Um, well, I mean, sometimes let's say the controlling of levitation is more spontaneously. It's sometimes the objects start to levitate if I experiment since 2 hours on an object maybe, and then it could be happen that it starts to levitate. So it's more really a spontaneously phenomena, because there is a that this magnetics or electromagnetics aspects which are working there um, are working like a domino effect. It's more an it I mean, all that frequency gets more. There is more and more electromagnetism after time, and in this environment, and sometimes then it's more like an artificial intelligence which is working there and is producing some or his own stuff, and sometimes it can happen that they start to levitate. So but I also think, I mean, in history there were people which could levitate their own body, and so, well, I think it's more on a spiritual way. So it's more the ghost in yourself. So I mean, sometimes it's really weird because you can see, let's call them wires. Sometimes you can see from the people's body the wires from to another person, and this wire is more like a spiritual connection to, or let's say it's the energy from other people who can levitate this person sometimes. It's really complex. There are many ways to do or to create such a phenomena. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering these questions and also giving me your precious time. I know you're a busy guy, and also just awesome answers and stuff like that. But more important than anything, I mean, I'm just so grateful and honored, to be one of the first people to kind of get you exposed to the world and stuff like that. And like I said, I've just been just a massive fan of yours, and I know other friends of mine who are kinetics that are also a big fan of yours as well. And and so yeah, so I mean, just it really truly, I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much for doing this interview for me.
Very good. Well done.
Yeah, so awesome. All right. Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys.